Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. We'll wait just a couple minutes. We're still missing 2 people. We'll get started very soon. Okay, guys, we're back at it. Let's take a look at page 242 in our student interactive. Page 242 is talking about informational essay. Okay, and the thing that we are going to write using the answers that we get from our interview will be an informational essay. Ken, please wait. I'm writing your name down and I will take your question in one moment. This is page 242. 242. Okay, informational essay is a short writing that will give us some information. I want you to pay attention to this kind of writing because this is the kind of writing that we will do with the answers we get from our interview. Zoe, I'm writing your name down. I know you have a question. Please wait until the end. This is page 242. Andrea, I'm writing your name down. I know you have a question. Please wait, and I will answer your question in one moment. This is page 242. 242. Informational essays include a title, a main idea, and details. The information can be organized in a way that describes the topic. Let's take a look at an example together. Make this a little smaller. Just a moment, please. Okay, there we go. Okay, Mr. Kwan and his friend Joe. That's the title. And for your title, you could write something like my dad and his friend Fred, or my mom and her sister Betty, or my uncle and his father Joe. So the first person in your title can be the person who you are interviewing, the person who you are asking the question to. The second person, his friend Joe, her friend Susan, this person can be the name of the person who was important to them. Remember, our interview is to ask an older person about someone who was important to them. Let's take a look at this page together, and then I'm going to open for questions. Again, this is page 242. Mr. Kwan's best friend was named Joe. Joe lived next door to Mr. Kwan. They walked home from school together. Then they played their yo-yos in Mr. Kwan's backyard. Mr. Kwan and Joe are still friends today. Okay, so it has a title. It has a main idea, which is the first sentence. The main idea, Mr. Kwan's best friend was named Joe. And then it has 1, 2, 3, 4 detail sentences. And the detail sentences give us more information about the main idea. The main idea is Mr. Kwan's best friend, Joe. And the details tell us why they were best friends and what they did together. They tell us a little bit more information about Mr. Kwan. I want you to think about what kinds of questions the student could have asked in the interview to get these answers. Let's take them one by one. The first sentence, I'm sure they probably asked, who was somebody who was important to you? Or who was your best friend when you were young? And then they said, oh, my best friend was Mr. Kwan, was Joe, was named Joe. Maybe question 2 is, where did Joe live? Oh, that's easy. Joe lived next door to me. What did you and Joe do together? Well, we walked home from school together because we lived next door to each other. When we got home, we would play with our yo-yos in my backyard. We had lots of fun. It was great times. The last question, are you and Joe still friends today? Yes, we are still friends today. We still do many fun things together. So those research questions can get you answers that you can use to make this kind of informational essay. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing for one moment, and I'm going to turn on the microphones. And I know some people had questions, so please wait for me to call you one by one to answer your questions. Okay? Ken, what is your question?
What is essay?
What is what? Essay. Ken, good question. It's like I told you before, an essay is some writing, a short writing. Okay? Maybe it's 1 paragraph, maybe it's 5 paragraphs. An essay is a short writing about some topic. Essay. It's a kind of writing. You are going to write an informational essay. An informational essay gives you information. Zoe, what's your question?
What is organized mean?
Organize means to put together in a way that makes sense. Okay. So if I organize my essay, I'm not going to have the title in the middle. I'm not going to have the main idea at the end. I'm going to organize it in a certain way. That means I'm going to put things in certain places. For example, I'll put the title first at the top. Then I'll put the main idea so I can tell my reader what it's about. Then I will put the details after the main idea because my reader should first know the main idea and then next know the details that help to support the main idea. Does that make sense, Zoe?
Yeah.
Zoe, you had a great question. Thank you very much. Andrea, what is your question, Andrea?
What is backyard?
Backyard. That's a good question. Many students in Taiwan don't have a backyard because many people in Taiwan live in apartments. Let me show you an example of what a backyard might look like, okay? A backyard, well, first of all, let's talk about what a yard is. A yard is an area with grass, and you can play outside next to your house, or in front of your house, or behind your house. So I want to put in yard into Google Images and see what I can get, and I'll show you a picture. Okay, just a moment. Cindy, please wait. I see you have a question. Please wait. Let's see here. Share this one. Do you see there are many yards here? Some of them are front yards, like this looks like it's a front yard because it's in the front of the house. This looks like it's a backyard because it's in the back of the house. Some houses might even have a side yard. So the yard is an area with grass. It's outside your house. It's around your house where you can play games, maybe sit in the grass, let your dog go outside. Andrea, do you still have a question? Andrea, what is your question? Okay, Andrea, if you're
No.
okay, stop raising your hand if your question is finished. Okay, thank you, Andrea. Cindy, what is your question?
I have a question.
Sorry, Cindy, what's your question?
I don't have a question.
Cindy, why did you raise your hand if you don't have a question? Cindy, answer me, please. Cindy, can you hear me?
Yes.
Cindy, answer my question. Why did you raise your hand if you didn't have a question?
Because I forgot what my question is.
Are you sure you're not just playing around on your computer?
No.
Okay. Please don't raise your hand unless you have a question, okay, Cindy? Thank you. Ryan, what's your question, my friend?
Yard.
Sorry, I can't hear you. One more time. I don't hear you, Ryan. Your microphone has a problem, maybe.
It's yard.
Sorry? One more time.
My home is yard.
Your home has a yard. That's great, buddy. When you start feeling better, you can go out and run around in the yard. That's good. You should go outside and use the yard if you have one. They're nice to have. For me, I live in an apartment, so I don't have a yard. I can go to the roof and sit on the roof to enjoy the sun or have a barbecue, or I can go out of my apartment building and go to the park. That's where I often take my dogs. I take them to the park because I don't have a yard. But that's cool. You have a yard, man. That's awesome. Okay. Any more final questions before we continue? No more questions? All right, let's continue. So let's take a look now at page 243. We talked about 242. We talked about informational essay. I want you to remember that because that's what you're going to write, probably doing it next week, okay? Now, this is talking about our interview and about the questions and about taking notes. So, class, your homework today, because today is Friday, is I want you to go out sometime between now and Tuesday and do your interview. Zoe, I see your hand. I will answer your question in one moment, okay? Let me finish talking about this page, and then I will come back for your question, Zoe, okay? Thank you. Class, your homework today is to go out and do your interview. Maybe you do it tonight, maybe you do it on Saturday or Sunday or even Monday. But by Tuesday, I want your interview to be finished. You need to go to the person that you're going to ask. You need to talk to them, hopefully in English. Ask them 6 questions, and you need to record or take notes on the answers that they give you. This page is about taking notes. This lets you know how you can write down their answers. Let's take a look together. Take notes. Collaborate. Collaborate means to work together. Follow these tips for taking notes during an interview. A tip is some helpful advice, something that you can do. If I have a helpful idea for you, it's a tip. So when I go to do my interview, I can write questions before the interview, and you guys did that already. Make sure you finish question 6, and make sure question 6 is asking about the person who was important to the person you are interviewing. Number 2, add space so you can write responses. So look at this example right here. There's one question and there's an empty line after. This empty line is giving a space to write the answer. Now, I know you wrote your questions probably in your student interactive book already. I would like you to take your questions and put them in your notebook. So you need to write them again in your notebook. And when you write them again in your notebook, I want you to make sure that you leave some space between each question. That space will be the space for you to write your answers. Okay, number 3, write important words and phrases instead of sentences. When you're listening to somebody talk, it's very difficult to write as fast as they can talk. It's hard to write sentences because it's hard to write that quickly. So what you should do is you should write down some words that will help you to remember their answer. Write down the important words. I see your hand, Lucas. Please wait. Write down the important words, and you can change those important words into sentences later when you write your essay. Here is 2 example questions. Who was your best friend, and what did you like to do together? Okay. It says, write something you learned about the person you interviewed. You can do this after your interview, so this can also be part of your homework. Okay. All right, I'm going to stop sharing this and see if there are any more questions. Let's see. Let's start with Zoe. Zoe, you had a question. What is it?
What is responsive mean?
What does what mean?
Responsive.
Can you spell it, please?
RESPONSES.
Sorry, R-E.
RESPONSES.
Responses. That's a good question. Responses is answers. Answers. If I ask you a question and you answer me, you give me a response. Good question. Response means answer. Okay?
Phrases.
Sorry?
Phrases.
Phrases is many words together, but not a sentence. Like if I ask my interview subject, if I say, "What did you and this person like to do when you were younger together to have fun?" and they say, "Oh, that's easy. When we were young together, when we were kids, we liked to go to the park and we would run around and play baseball. We had lots of fun. It was great." That's a lot of words, right? So I'm not going to write down all of those words. I'll probably write down park, baseball, run around, and fun. So I write some words and some phrases. Like run around is a phrase. It's more than one word. And then I can use those words and phrases to build my answer later. Okay?
Okay.
So I want you to make sure that you take your notebook and write the questions in your notebook.
I
And,
already
and
write.
good. And write some answers in your notebook when you do the interview. But you don't need to write complete sentences because we will do that later. Lucas, what's your question?
Okay. Did we need to write this page?
I can't see what page that is, brother.
It's 242.
No, that page is just for reading. There's nothing to write on that page, is there? I think that page is just for reading. That page is just for you to see an example of what you are going to write later. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you for your question, Lucas.
So later is our home. We
Your
need to write.
your homework later is to write your interview questions in your notebook, do the interview, and write the answers in your notebook. Okay? But you
Okay.
don't have to do it tonight. You can do it sometime before Tuesday. So tonight, tomorrow, Sunday, or Monday. But please don't wait too long. You first need to find the person that you're going to interview and ask them when they have some free time for you to talk to them. Okay?
Okay.
Dr. Ray, what's your question? Ray, what's your question?
Can we write the answer on paper?
Yeah, I think you should write the answers in your notebook. Okay? Then it's easy and you won't lose it. But you don't need to write complete sentences for the answers. Just write some words to help you remember what the answer was. We will make complete sentences when we write the essay. Okay? Rachel Rabbit, what's your question? I can't hear you, dear. Your mute is on. Still can't hear you.
Can we write on the paper?
Write in your notebook, please. What paper do you want to write on, Ray?
Teacher, I'm finished.
Ray, what paper do you want to write on? If you're finished, I want you to check your work and make sure it looks good, okay?
Paper.
Sorry,
Teacher.
Ray?
It's paper.
Yeah, that's okay, Ray. Just don't lose it, okay?
Okay.
Make sure you have enough space to write some words for your answers so you don't forget what they told you,
Okay.
okay? Any more questions? Alyssa?
Write what?
What do you mean, write what?
Write interview.
Lucas, what are we writing?
It's interview.
We're going to ask an older person about somebody who was important to them. Last class, Alyssa, I gave you 5 questions and I asked you to write one more. That makes 6 questions. In your notebook, I want you to write the questions from the book into your notebook. Then you're going to go to the person you're going to interview. You're going to say, "Hi, my name is Alyssa. You are my father. You are my mother. You are my neighbor. I want to ask you some questions." Okay? Who was important to you when you were younger? What kind of person were they? What did you guys do together? How long did you know them? Are you still friends? Alyssa, come back. I'm answering your question, please. And then you can write down the answers that they gave you, okay? Alyssa, when you write down the answers, you can just write words to help you remember. You don't have to write complete sentences because you will write sentences later. Okay? Alyssa, do you understand? Any other questions? Dr. Yolanda? I can't hear you, dear.
I write my sister.
How old is your sister?
9 years old.
Uh, okay. Okay, she's older than you by 3 years, so okay. Can she speak English?
Yes.
Okay, I was really hoping it would be somebody that's a little bit older, like an adult. But if you don't have any adults you can ask, then you can ask your older sister, okay? Thank you, Yolanda. Gordon, question, sir?
My new question is, how is your relationship with him?
Excellent question, Gordon.
Is that okay?
That's perfect. Well done. Good job. Excellent. Thank you for reading it to me, Gordon. I appreciate that. Okay, guys. Anybody else have a question? Okay. I know it's the first time. Well, actually, it's the second time because I think we did an interview before. So, but we haven't done a lot of interviews, so I know it's kind of a new thing. So don't worry too much. Just do your best. Okay? I hope that you're speaking English for your interview. And don't forget to write down some answers so that we can use those answers to make our writing later. Okay? All right. Zoe, one more question from you, dear.
You need to record the answer.
You can record the voice if you want using the phone or a computer, but you don't have to. You can just write it down with a pencil in your notebook. But if it's easy for you to record the voice, then you can do that, and that will be helpful because then you can listen to it again later if there is anything that you forgot. So if you want to record it, you can do that. Definitely will be a helpful way, but you don't have to. Okay? All right, guys. I'm gonna end our meeting now. Okay? I'll put the video into the line group so you can see it if anybody had any problem hearing. Okay? Bye bye, everybody.
Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.
Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye.